What's up, guys, and welcome to a little live stream that we haven't done very frequently here on the Dark Horse YouTube channel. But I wanted to throw this up because we are 5 days out from the Dark Horse Academy launch, and I don't think a lot of you guys know what that is because I never talk about it on the YouTube channel, and that's a crying shame because there are so many of you here who actually care about what we're doing and the content that we put out, and this is just our opportunity to share that with you guys. So I'm looking at this as a little like how-to. We'll do how-to today, and wanted to give you guys some education on the coaching side, because we're always speaking from the athlete side. You know, if you personally want to fix X, Y, or Z, how do you do that? In this instance, we're going to talk about how you, as a coach, or as perhaps somebody who's just passionate about this, can help spot errors that are coming from other people that you may see. I'm hearing a little bit of pop coming out of this, so if you give me a second, I'm going to put a pop filter on here. Okay, pop filter acquired. Give me one moment. Let's see how this goes. Bear with me, please. This will make for a more pleasant audio experience for you. Oh, that's so much better. No more pops. Okay, so what we're talking about today is how, as testicle, thank you, you're very welcome. I hope that 30-minute workout video was helpful. I'm actually planning on filming another one today, so get excited. And we're going to try and do those a little bit more frequently as we go along, because there's so much, I think, for a lot of people, there's a lot of value to those. Sorry, I'm still working on this whole audio setup. But anyways, I'm happy that you liked it. I'm happy that you, took it, and I hope that you use it repeatedly. But anyways, the point of today was to really talk about how, as I'm going to say coach, that's going to be my term that we'll use. How, as a coach, do you actually spot errors? And then how do you know that what you're seeing is something that needs fixing? So before I get started on that, I just want to let you know that where this is coming from and what we are talking about is 100% from the Dark Horse Academy. And for those of you that, that killed me breathing out of my poster here on the last 30, love it though, good, love it, Concrete Head. So those of you that are on this channel, you probably don't know, but we have what's called the Dark Horse Academy. And the Dark Horse Academy I built for coaches and gym owners and trainers and also athletes, but to a lesser extent. And it basically breaks down everything that there is to know about the indoor rowing machine and how to use it as a better training tool. And that's extremely important because so few people really understand this machine in its entirety, and it can be tough to piece it together through our videos. So in our videos, I do as much as I can to break it down one bite-sized piece at a time, but often there's no logical progression to our videos. We often put these things, I film these based off of questions that we get through our comments and people finding us on Instagram and asking questions, so that inspires me to create a video. But the Academy was taking the seminars that I've coached for about 6 years now and taking it online so that anybody anywhere could take advantage of it. And so that's what the Academy is. I put the link in the description here. It is, let me just confirm that I have, it's darkhorserowing.com/Academy Fall 2018. Now, the unique part about the Academy is that we only open it twice a year. So it's open in the fall and the spring, and it's only open for 7 days at a time. We are T-minus 5 days now. So it opens on Monday and then closes the following Monday. If you are interested in getting in, if you're interested in improving as a coach, improving your own experience or the experience of others, that is what the Academy is for. Go sign up, get on the wait list, because you will get a 10% discount exclusively to that email list, as well as some bonuses that come if you buy in the first 24 hours. So I wanted to do a quick shout out to that because there are so many people who have supported us on here as athletes. You guys use our workouts as evidenced by Tess and Concrete jumping in, and you guys know that what we offer is valuable content. So if you found any value in it before and you are in that realm where you are going to be helping other people and you want to improve the experience for others, then consider checking out the Academy. Even just go explore it. Again, it's going to be opening Monday, so go get on that wait list, sign up. There's no harm in getting on the wait list. It just allows you to find out when we open the doors. And the fall and the spring, we bring through cohorts, kind of like you have a semester in school. You can only get in at those times. We don't offer it the rest of the year. And then inside, we have some other programs as well that we'll be offering. So we have building a midline, which is exciting and new. Those of you that have followed our videos know that I love sandbags and building strong trunks and midlines for the purposes of being on this machine and just for health and longevity. So that is going to be in there as well, and that's going to be the first time we've had that available. And then we're also going to be selling one-on-one coaching, not something that we get to do very often, but something that we decided after having brought on a new coach. You guys have seen Coach John Healy in some of the videos with me. Now that John is on board with us, we can start offering stuff like that and giving you guys personal coaching. Also, those of you that don't know, make sure you get on our crew. If you aren't using our programming, you're missing a huge opportunity here. All of the cycles that we've ever written are inside the crew. And we're going to be opening a new Facebook group soon where you're going to be able to get your movement reviewed. So for those of you that are here on YouTube following us, make sure that you go check that out. You can just go to the website, darkhorserunning.com, and it's under athlete, and you sign up. First week is free. And then and after that, it's $39 a month, and you're going to be getting basically coaching by us directly. You have a library of all the cycles we've ever written, from 500 up to marathon, and you can use those as you need, when you need. So if you've been enjoying our follow-along workouts, make sure you go get that programming as well, because that gives you dedicated workouts twice a week for the cycles. And we're going to be kicking off what's going to be called the drill quad, so that 10 to 20 minutes a day you can work on your mechanics, all in an effort to basically just continue the education for you guys. So let's get back to the task at hand, which is how do we spot errors in our athletes when it comes to this machine. I just want to walk you through the process that I'm going through as a coach, what I'm thinking about, how I'm processing, the order in which I watch things, the way I study it, and then how I approach it after I find something that I believe needs work. So the first thing that I'm going to be looking for as a coach or as an observer of somebody who's on the machine and we're wanting to help them out a little bit is that I'm going to be basically, the way that I start with every new athlete is I let them just row. I want to see them row for, I usually give them a minute to 2. I don't put a time cap on it. I don't tell them how many strokes. I just say start rowing as if you were, at a medium pace. And I want to get a real, true, and honest idea of what your mechanics look like without judgment. And that's going to paint the picture for me of how I will coach you. And because there is no standard coaching, it's unique to everybody. So I will watch that athlete, give them a minute or 2. And the things that I'm observing as they're going through that, number 1, I'm going to be watching their order of operations first and foremost. Right? Do I see a clean order of operations, meaning leg drive that then transfers to hip swing, that then transfers to an arm snap, followed by a push away of the arms, a closing of the hips, and then a recovering of the legs. That's first and foremost, because that's just as fundamental as it gets. Do you have the right order of operations to create good movement? If not, that's an immediate magnifying glass on what we're going to start working on, because we just have to start there. Because that tells me that our foundations need work, and that therefore I'm going to bring it back to the absolute foundations. If those pass the sniff test, if I see decent order of operations, I'm then going to start checking connection points. That would be feet, seat, and handles. Okay, so I'm going to look at their feet. What are their feet doing? Are they lifting the heels? Are they pulling the seat to their heels? Are they pulling with the arms early? And that would include, the handle moving first without the body or the legs moving, as in the arms break instead of the legs driving. So I'm going to check seat, feet, and feet, seat, and handles. Little rhyme for you. You're welcome. So feet, seat, and handles. That's where I go next. So I've watched the order of operations. Passes the test. Great. I'm going to go to feet, seat, and handles. What are the feet doing? What's the seat doing? And then what are the handles doing? And that gives me a really great idea of what is going on with the rest of the mechanics. Let's say that that passes the test. Okay, next, I'm going to start moving on to, I'm going to take a big step back, and I'm actually going to watch the gross movement. So instead of being as analytical about the order of operations, I'm going to start looking for what their body does under duress, meaning when they are putting tension on the handle, how does their body hold up through the movement? Does their midline break? Does their midline look like it's struggling? Do their, maybe their shoulders look a little lax and like they're kind of springy, they're not locking into place. Maybe I can tell that they're only pushing with their quads and not with their hamstrings or their glutes. So those are the things I'm going to check next. So I'm going to go through that and basically say, all right, what are these nuances? Now that takes a bit of time to establish. You need to have watched a lot of strokes to pick up on those little things, which is why we always start with just order of operations, because that's the easiest to see. Once you understand leg drive, hip swing, then the arm snap, arm push away, closing the hips, then the legs, that's going to make a significant impact. So once we finish that, let's say that passes the sniff test. I'm going to go into what is my final analysis. Now, of course, maybe there are some people who are proficient at this, and if they are, in which case it's going to be harder for me to give them something to work on. At that point, it's going to become a bit more mental of the cueing that I'm going to give. But the final step, if I'm not seeing anything visibly, where I'm going to go with it is that I'm going to put on the force curve on their monitor, and I'm going to watch their force output through the drive. Now, the force curve you can find by, if you're looking at a PM monitor, 3 through 5, any of them, you can hit the second button down on the right-hand column, and it will take you to the force curve screen. And that force curve screen is going to give you an insight, as in it looks like a bell curve, or that's what an ideal force curve looks like. It's this bell curve that's smooth on both ends, reaches a peak that is symmetrical on both sides, and then tapers off to the end. That tells you that they are applying force properly through the drive. If I'm not seeing that, it's basically a lie detector test that tells me exactly what's happening on the drive. If that passes the test, hey, they're pretty good. We can work on making them faster, making them more powerful, or working on their mental game. But perhaps they don't need as much work. And most of you, if you're seeing somebody and you're like, ooh, they could use some help. I appreciate you doing that, because we need an army. We need a bunch of people carrying the torch of the knowledge that we're talking about here. So let's assume then that person doesn't pass on number 1, meaning you're watching the order of operations and you're like, yeah, we need to work on something there. My first steps at that point, and this is my coaching brain coming out, is I'm going to have that athlete stop rowing, and then I'm going to have him put the handle down. You would be amazed how many people don't want to let go of the handle once they've started moving. By the way, if you guys are liking this, give this some love. Give me some thumbs up there. It's nice to know that people are watching. Or jump in and drop comments, questions as we go. I want to answer questions at the end. So if you have questions as we're going, please drop them, because I'd love to see it. Hey, 3D clicked it. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. Give the video some love. There's nothing better to help us spread the word than to see some likes on the video, and for me to know that you're actually there and paying attention. And please ask questions. I want to make sure I answer them for you. So next steps from there is that I completely lost my train of thought after saying that. Wow, let me back up for a second. Where was I going with that? First things first, after I've determined that they don't have, you'd be amazed how many people don't want to set the handle down. Once they pick it up, people don't want to set it down. Let me give you one big pointer. If somebody's holding a handle, they can hear you at like 50% of their listening capacity. I mean, they can hear you, but they're not listening. If somebody's holding a handle in their hands, they are immediately thinking, what am I going to physically do next? And they're going to be antsy and trying to move before you may have your ideas out. as in before you tell them what's wrong or before you give them something to do, you'll find a lot of people sit there and just continue to move while you're trying to explain or help. So the best thing that you can do is have them put the handle down. Once you put the handle down, they're ready and attentive to listen because they want to move, but they don't have the ability to if they don't have the handle in their hand. So it's a nice, neat little coaching trick that I like to use. So once they put the handle down, I'm then going to help them understand what it is that I saw. And this is because a lot of this. But unless you explain to that athlete or that person what the problem was to begin with, it's very hard for them to make a change because they're not exactly sure what you're looking for. They don't know why, how. It just lays a foundation for the work that you want to do with them. So, hey, you know what? I noticed that your arms were breaking early. So I would like to work on that with you and try to make a bit of a change. That opening makes it much easier for somebody to go, oh, okay, cool. Now I know what the goal is going to be. We're going to try and fix the fact that I am breaking my arms. Okay, cool. Once I get that out, then I'm going to move on to, so again, this is all about communication with your athlete. So you have to communicate well. Never skip a step in like word vomit on your athlete as you're getting started with coaching this thing. If you are keeping information to yourself, it's going to be very hard, whether consciously or subconsciously, it's going to be very hard for them to make any changes because your brain is moving ahead of what they're understanding. So the more you can speak to what you want to work on, the more you can get your brain into voice, the more effective it's going to be for them, which means that, hey, here's what I saw. This is the problem. I'd like to work on that. What we're going to do to work on that is this drill. Now, from a drill perspective, you can go for a whole bunch of, I mean, we've got tons of different drills. Go back, use our library of drills that we've shown in the past. A couple that I can think of are like the most perfect drill of all time video that we did, which focuses on the top quarter. A lot of our earlier videos where we covered like pick drill and pause drill, things that would be really important to laying foundational work. So I'm gonna, let's just choose, all right, your arms are breaking early. Therefore, I'm going to have you row with legs and hips only. These are called pick drills or reverse pick drills in this instance. So I'm gonna use a reverse pick drill. Now, what that is, because let's assume they don't know what the drill is. Most people don't, nor should they. They're not rowers. You are the expert. Right, we're going to use legs and arms only. It's a reverse pick drill. What that means is that we're picking the stroke apart into its pieces, and then once we work on fixing this thing that's wrong, then we can bring them back together to create a better stroke for you. So in this instance, all right, you're breaking your arms early, and so next we're going to use this pick drill, reverse pick drill, legs and arms only. How that works. Here's where we help. Again, we're word vomiting on them, people, right? We're trying to help them as much as possible. We got to get our brains out. So how that works is that you're going to set up at the catch position. Now, the beauty of this drill is I'm going to take your arms out of the equation so that you don't even have to think about it. All I want is that the arm is going to be fully extended. Mind you, I'd be demoing this more if I could move around, but I'm attached to the microphone. So from that perspective, I want your arms straight and they're going to stay locked out, triceps engaged, elbows extended, and hands loosely holding onto the handle. Okay, now the arms are going to stay that way throughout the entire drill. At no point are you going to bend the arms during this drill, and you won't add the arms back in until I give you the okay. Now, after I explain that, how this will work, you'll set up at the catch, arms straight. When I say go, you're going to begin rowing by pushing through the legs and then swinging the hips open, only to then close the hips again and then return back with the legs. So that's the drill. You're just going to keep doing that continuously, legs, hips, legs. And the objective here is that we learn how to trust that our legs do the pushing into the machine, not pulling with the arms. And so that's what we're trying to fix for you. Does that make sense? Checking in, making sure that they are tracking and following along with the information that we're giving. So let's assume that that makes sense to them. Yep, okay, great. Mind you, the handle is still down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is when I say go ahead, you can go ahead and pick up the handle. then I'm going to set you up at the catch. When I say go, you will row continuously without the arms, using the legs and the hips only. And I'm going to make some corrections as you're doing that so that you can fix this. And you're just going to row until I tell you to stop. There is no end point that you have to worry about. You're just going to keep going. Okay, fantastic. I've laid the groundwork for exactly how this thing is going to work. The final thing I'm going to do you have any questions about how this operates? I'm going to wait. I'm going to give them the opportunity to perhaps I didn't clarify something. And that's not their problem. That's my problem. I didn't do a good enough job laying the foundation for them if they have questions. And so I'm just going to make sure that there's a wide open door for them to ask me a question. If not, I'm going to go ahead and start by executing the drill. Okay, I want you to grab the handle, sit ready at the catch position. When I say go, you are going to drive the legs, open the hips, close the hips, recover with the legs, and go. At that point, they're off and running. There's nothing that I have to do for them to execute the drill. And that's the beauty of this format, is that there's no need for me to help them execute the drill, guys. And that's where so much of the struggle comes in when people are coaching this machine. They think that they need to be responsible at all times for making sure that the drill is happening. That's not how it works. You need to lay a strong enough groundwork that the drill can happen automatically without my needing to do anything as it's happening. That frees me up to be the coach. So now as the athlete's moving, I can be sitting here going, all right, hey, make sure that you're maintaining that posture. Keep the elbows extended. Good, leg drive first. Beautiful. Make sure that you're bracing through the midline. I just dropped in my coaching voice for you. That's exactly how I coach. If you were to be joining me in my garage here for a little private session, that's exactly what it would sound like. So I'm going to be giving those cues as they go, right? And my objective is that they are executing on their own, freeing up the space for me to give cues that they can listen to and try to adapt as they're moving. That is the coaching process, guys. And that is how you try to find issues with your athletes. So begin with the process of my order of operations, or my reverse Maslow's hierarchy of rowing needs, right? That's the process I walk through. I'm basically checking foundations and moving up the chain to more nuanced behaviors. Most of the time, you'll find plenty on the base level, but you also need to have a lot of practice watching the movements in order to be able to spot these errors. And that's where so much of the struggle comes in for a lot of people. So they're like, I'm not a rower. How do I know what an error looks like? Well, you have two ways of doing that. Number one, you can watch all of our YouTube videos. Magic. We've put out like 200 videos over the past 2.5 years, guys. This is a huge opportunity for you. Just consume our videos. That's why I put them out there for free. I don't want to hide this information. Right? I wanted all of this to be out there. There's nothing that I won't put on a video. Just like I won't, I would never keep like my process hidden from you guys. So that's option number one, right? Just consume our videos. I guarantee you, if anybody has watched all of our videos, you should have a very strong grasp on what you're looking for, how things move better, how things work better. And you can freely coach people after that, because we've given away, I've like given pretty much everything that's up here has been on video. I'm sure there's plenty more that I could find, and I'm totally open to your suggestions. If you ever have them, by the way, drop them into the comments on videos, because I read those as a place to look for information. So that's option one, right? Go through the channel, consume all of the videos, like piece together this information. It is all there. I haven't hidden a thing, right? Yes, we are the only ones in the world that are talking about this, to such great depth. But that doesn't mean that we're hiding it. We want everybody to take this and use it. Like, that's the point. I want to see people who are like, you know what? I took this and I built a rowing club at my gym or out of my garage. I bought 3 machines, and like all my neighbors come over and I host a rowing club. Like, that's unbelievable. Like, thank you. That's the greatest thing I could hear. We had somebody the other day who just dropped us a comment. They're like, your videos changed my life. Before I found you, I weighed 100 pounds more. I was considering getting into rowing. And somebody just told me to buy the machine. So I bought it, and I didn't know why, and I didn't know what to do with it. So I just consumed your videos. I learned how to do it. And I'm 100 pounds lighter. I love this machine, and I'm going to the World Championships, the World Indoor Rowing Championships in February. Like, that's unbelievable and incredibly satisfying. So that's route one, if you need to develop that eye. Route two is going through our academy, and that's what the academy has been built for. is to give it structure, so that if you don't want to have to watch all of the videos and you want a structure for how to learn all of this information, then go jump into our academy. Again, it opens on Monday. We got 5 days until it launches, and it's only open for 7 days. Open and close. Opens on Monday, closes the following Monday, not to be open again until spring. And that's not a joke. I only bring in cohorts once a year because I love working with all of the group at one time. So everybody comes through, they're super passionate, they work together, and all of the information for how to go from knowing nothing, good number of videos, you jump into the academy, by the time you're done, you will be incredibly confident in your coaching eye, in what drills to use, in how to use them, in becoming a better coach, in structuring a group class, down to how to clean machines. The benefit is that if you take the pro level, you can also come out as a dark horse coach. We will certify you as a dark horse coach and a Concept 2 indoor rowing instructor. We work with Concept 2 on this course so that you can you basically get both certifications when you're done. Now that's the pro level of the course. The majority of people end up there. Anyways, that's your second option. We put everything in there. There's a ton of value, a ton of education, videos that are not on YouTube. All of the videos that we film there are not on YouTube because I needed, sorry, my nose itches. I needed to be able to give it a logical structure. So I filmed them separately for that, so that it could follow the same order that I followed during my seminars, my in-person seminars. So that's your second option. Again, the domain for that, if you want to get signed up for the wait list, which there's no commitment to get on a wait list, you will just get a 10% discount when we open on Monday. That's only good for 24 hours. And then you can get all the bonuses that come with buying in the first 24 hours. Just go to darkhorserowing.com/academy/fall2018. The link is in the description. Go sign up. If you guys have found value in this, if you want to learn everything that there is to know about the machine, I promise you the academy will be worth your time. Go sign up for that wait list. I don't think I've ever sold anything on YouTube. Guys, I'm telling you, so many of you follow and just don't know about this. Go check it out. All right, I'm going to answer some questions now. We've got some that have popped up as we've been going. Dimitri, been thinking about getting a heart rate monitor for a better understanding on what my heart is doing while rowing. What's the best in your opinion? Any quick tips on how to implement it? Honestly, on heart rate monitors, just make sure that it has the Blue Ant Plus technology so that it can connect to the PMs. And so as far as like best heart rate monitor, I believe Garmin is what a lot of people use, but I can't really say like if I have a preference one over the other. Quick tips on how to implement it. Yes, absolutely. Make sure that you have a good working knowledge of how heart rate based training works. Getting a heart rate monitor is great, but you also need to understand heart rate training for that to be valuable, right? Just another piece of information isn't necessarily that useful. It's useful if you use it. And that's where the value of a heart rate monitor comes in, is making sure that you're understanding it and that you are using it for, the purposes of improving your training. And I actually just covered this in an Instagram Live earlier. Heart rate training is great because it provides a more personalized training session for you. That's the benefit, right? I can write a pace-based training program, which is great for you. But for a heart rate based, you're actually getting like results, not just based off of a single test result from the beginning of a cycle. Both have value. One just tends to be a little bit more personalized. Josh Gould, how do you differentiate between the quads doing the work and the hamstrings doing the work? Seems counterintuitive because when you extend your legs, your quads are fundamentally shortening. Yes, absolutely. And that's an excellent point. How do I personally differentiate? That's what I'm going to answer this from a position of how do I see the difference? Well, if you think about the way that the foot stretchers are angled, Josh, they're at a 45-degree angle to the floor. And when we are rowing, what we're trying to do is create even a little bit of moment where we suspend our mass on the handle. For that to happen, you have to create some kind of vertical force. In order to create a bit of vertical force, there has to be a push through the heel, which gives you some hamstring and glute engagement. Am I saying that it's glute dominant? No, but am I also saying that to drive power, you need to use both your quads and your glutes and hamstrings to engage? Yes, absolutely. Are we saying that it's quad dominant? Yes, most likely, because the majority of your force is a horizontal drive, not a vertical drive. But you need to be producing some vertical drive because the majority of people go quad dominant only with zero hamstring and glute engagement. And therein is the problem. That's where a lot of people miss, is because their glutes aren't getting involved. It's effectively like they're squatting on their toes. And that's one of the big issues, is that so many people don't know how to use their hamstrings or their glutes to give and add power to the stroke. So yes, if we're talking anatomically, sure, the quads are fundamentally shortening as we are driving. And yes, anatomically you are correct. However, both systems need to work to create power. Just like I wouldn't teach somebody to squat with a bar on their back on the balls of their feet, I also am not going to teach them to drive only through the balls of their feet. I'm going to make sure that that heel is connected and able to support driving through the entire leg. I hope that answers your question. Andrew, thank you. Thanks for your videos. They're changing lives. That's the whole goal, guys. That this machine is so incredibly versatile and useful for whatever you need. I think way more people should be using this thing as a training tool. They just aren't sure where to start. You can create strength, you can create endurance, you can create strength endurance. You can get whatever you need out of this machine, including using the seat for like pipe work, right? Ab work. You can do all sorts of stuff with it. You just have to find the creativity level. Luke says, hi. Hey, Luke, what's going on? And Concrete, hey, off for the evening meal. Catch up later, UK based. So yeah. Guys, I'm going to let it be at that. Again, one more time, go to darkhorserowing.com/Academy Fall 2018 to get on the wait list for the Academy launch, which is happening on Monday, 3 a.m. Pacific time, and then closing the following Monday. You do not want to miss this if you enjoy our videos and if you at all want to create a structured learning environment. That is what we have in the Academy, plus some extras and bonuses that if you've just followed us on YouTube, you may not know exist. And you may have a far greater insight once you go through the Academy as you come through this. And there's also nothing more than I want to actually build that community of torchbearers who can take this information and spread it, right? I would love to see you guys become these people who desperately care and also feel like you have all of the knowledge in your toolbox to create a difference. That to me is what matters. It's why I dedicate an entire module in the course to how to be a good coach. Because it's not just about learning the movement or the skill. It's also about how do you transfer that information successfully to people? How do you build your empathy? How can you be a better empath to the people who look to you for information? How can you distribute that? Right? Those are things I desperately care about from what I'm doing, from my career. Right? So I just want to spread that knowledge. I love all of you guys. If you don't hear me say it, it's true. I love all of you guys as a community. Thank you so much for hanging out with us when we post our videos, for using our follow along workouts, for supporting us everywhere, whether you follow us on Instagram as well, and maybe you've been through the Academy, or maybe you've just been hanging out watching our YouTube videos occasionally. I appreciate it all and just want to say thank you to all of you. So with that being said, guys, one more shout out, darkhorserowing.com/Academy Fall 2018. The link is in the description. Please go check it out. I would love to see all of you join us in there. And I'm going to sign off on this one like I sign off all the other videos. We will see you on the other side.